Welcome back, everybody. This is where we actually stopped last time. So the problem, I slightly changed it a little bit. I made it to a integer list because code check. It's kind of difficult to um, set the code check input. Other than that, it should work perfectly fine with any list with any mix of types. Okay, so this is the problem. So as usually, I copied it down to my PyCharm, and here it is. So let's read it again. Given a list of integers with duplicates, write a Python function to return a new list of numbers with duplicate removed. So basically, we need to find the distinct values in the given list. Okay, so there's an example. So we have these duplicates. We have like three twos and three threes and then three ones, right? And we need to return this list. And this is, if you take a look, if you recall in your high school mathematics or middle school mathematics class, it's actually a set operation. We have to create a set out of this um, this list, because set is a collection of unique and distinct elements in mathematics. Okay, and sets are really useful data data structures in any programming language. Okay, you will see why soon when we go over our set lesson. All right, so for now we got to do this using list operations. Okay, all right, and then at the end we have to do it in um, well, over here. Let me show you. I think we have to do it in a set comprehension as well. So let me just get it right here. Yeah. So I'm going to copy that as well. So investigate how you can um, do it using in list comprehension. Okay. So put it that as well. Okay. So let's identify the input. So given a list of integers with duplicates, so that's our input. Okay. All right. And output, well, we need to find the set. Okay. So, well, a list of numbers with duplicate removes. Okay. It's really important to identify always these two things. Every problem usually have these two things. Even in real world, it is the case. All right. So, okay. So and then there's any restriction? Yes, we cannot do um, restrictions. We can't use set operation. Okay? And then you will see how easy this would be with sets. Okay, can use sets. All right. So match. Well, it's going to be a list iteration problem. So we have done several already, right? So finding greater than neighbors, those, you can write those things. Okay, so because it's a list iteration problem, sorry, so I'm going to commonly write list iteration. Okay, all right, so let's first analyze this question. So I'm going to take an example. Okay, so example, so I'm going to take a list equals let's take like 1 1 2 2 and 3 3. Oops, that's not the way we have to write it. Okay, so write this like this. All right, so I'm expecting, right, so I should return this 1 2 and 3. Okay, so what do we have to do here? So we obviously we need to create a new list. Okay, so well, I'm going to write it like set. Okay, and we need to basically come over here and then pick this one, and then we need to first initialize this to empty, and seems to be like a classic membership check question. All right, so we just come over here, check this value, and then check if it in here. So at the start, it's empty, so we put it there, 1, and then we go to the next value. All right, so seemingly we are iterating over this list. Okay, so we check value, and then we check this value in here, in this list. It is there, right? So we do nothing, and we go to the next value, and then check again here, and it's not in there, so we need to insert it. Okay, so it's simply appending to this one, this list. Okay, now we go to the next value in our list. Okay, so and it's not in here. Okay, so sorry, it's in here too, right? So we do nothing. We go to the next. It's not in here. Put 3, and we go to the next. It's in here. That's it. We are at the end of our list, and then we stop the iteration, right? So for loop take care of that. Okay, so basically, so that's what we have to do. Okay, so let's write our plan over here then. Okay, so the plan is basically, well, get input, right? So input, right? A list, right? Oops. And right here, number 2, we need to initialize our set, right? Set to empty, okay? And then number 3, now we can iterate our list. So for items, this is item by item iteration, okay? Comes in my list, so that is my list, okay? So it's right at this line, it's really similar to English, sorry, Python, right? So we are still writing our plan, so English, like code in English, but it's really simple, similar to Python, because Python is really closer to English than compared to Java and C++. Okay, so now we are inside for loop 3.1. Okay, so what we need, we basically check this item, and we check it in here. Okay, so if, so we need to check if, so if items in the set. Okay, sorry, it should be not in, right? So not in, that's when we add not in the set. Okay, oops. All right, so that's, now we are inside our if statement. Okay, so 3.1.1. okay, and then basically we're gonna append, right? Append items, items to the set. Okay, and then that would be it. Okay, so well, problem says we need to write a function. I'm going to show you how we can write a function as well in this video. Okay, so this, for some of you, this will be your first encounter writing a function. Okay, all right, so we return set. Okay, all right, so let's write our implementation. Okay, so we are supposed to write a function, right? So in Python, we start with def keyword in writing a function. Okay, so function, like real world, it's actually accomplish a particular task. Okay, so that means and then a great Python function provide a great way to use and like reuse code. Okay, and also it's the way to scaffold your problem. You break your problem, complex problem, into pieces of problems, and then those pieces become tasks, and you basically solve those tasks in functions. Okay, so how do we pick a name for the function? Go for the verb. In this case, we are removing duplicates. We can say remove duplicates. Okay, so always be expressive and pick that verb that you are going to solve as a task, right? So in a function. So basically here, I'm going to say remove duplicates. It could be many things. You can say create set. That's also a valid one. Notice I pick the verb to the first, and standard convention for naming is you separate the each decorative verb with the underscore, not camel case. Okay, not camel case. It's the underscore. So and then in underscore, and you can decorate. You can describe what comes with the function, like specifics. And here we remove duplicates, right? And this is how we take input in the functions. We pass it as a parameter. Okay, so a list. Okay, so don't get confused with Python input function. Okay, so we are taking input to this function as a parameter. So we call this the formal parameter. Okay, all right. So after every time you write a function, you need to have the doc string. We call it doc string. It's triple double quotes or triple single quotes, and inside you describe what the function does. Simply you can say returns a list of duplicate removed list. Okay, it's removed list from a list. Okay, all right, so that should be good. Okay, so it's simply in a single line, the doc string, single line explain what the Python does. And then we usually sometimes call these two lines the interface of the function. Okay, so basically just by reading these two lines, a total novice should be able to understand what the function does. Okay, all right. So, well, our first step, we have done our first steps. We took the input as a parameter. So now we need to initialize. So set one equals empty list. Okay. Next step, now we iterate 4 items in a list. Okay, and if items not in, we can directly use not in operator in set one, right? If it is not in there, okay, and then we add, okay, set one dot append. So you can use append method operation provided in list to do that. So append items. That's it. As simple as that. And we are done. We return. Okay, that's the return statement. Okay, so we return set one. Okay, all right. So, and then now we can run this one. Okay, so let's run it, and then we'll see. Let's see what will happen. So nothing happened, right? Why? Okay, this is only the function definition. Okay, so to see the value of it, you need to call it. So let's call it over here. Okay, so so I'm going to call the function. All right, and for that we need a list. Let me take it from here. Okay. All right, so a list. All right, it's our list. Okay, so let's run it again. Well, still nothing, right? So the reason is, okay, so this function ran. Okay, so definitely I can say that because we called the function. The reason is it returns a value. It only returns a value. So we didn't print it, right? So we need to print it, right? So, okay. All right. So let's run it again. All right. So let's see. Oh, set one. I made a mistake there. I'm going to print it again. Okay. All right. So I got the value we wanted. Okay. So you can now check with like code. Okay. So and another code. and same thing, and oh, it should be single quote. Okay, I'll run it again, and we got duplicate row in that as well. All right. So now the problem asks us to investigate how we can solve this using list comprehension. Okay. So let's try to do that as well. Okay. So again, that also functions. So um, I'm gonna name it. Let's say 2. Okay. So it has to be list comprehension, right? So let's try this. Okay. So we need to return this list comprehension. Okay. All right. So I usually take a look at what we have in the for loop version because it's really similar. So take that. Okay. And take this too. Okay. All right. So let me write it this way. Okay. So I'm gonna get set1 equals this, and notice it start already complaining. So like what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically right, I'm going to basically insert. So this is the one. Okay, and you'll see that there are many things wrong in here, but I'll explain. Okay, first thing it's saying, well, you have unresolved reference. Let's try to run this anyway. So I'm returning set1. Okay, so we get undefined, say undefined variables. Okay, oh, I'm gonna get it as set2. Okay, okay, so set2, it's clashing with the set1. Okay, all right, set2. All right, so let's run it again. Why is it okay? Oh, okay. All right, so maybe we need to run it. Okay, so let's run it over here. So all right, so print. Let me do it over here. I'm going to print this one. Okay. All right. So let's run it. Okay. Well, there are errors. So we'll see why. Okay. So the error is okay. The name error. Okay. Set2 is reference before assignment. All right. So that means basically right here. Okay. Right here, we use sets before we basically create a value. I mean, assign. I mean, we use it before we initialize it. Okay, so that means we can do this. Okay, so then what's the problem? That's why I said in my video. Okay, it's this little bit complicated, so there's no straightforward way to directly write our comprehension. So there should be a hack for this. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm going to initialize it over here. Okay, and I'm going to let it run it like this. Okay, but notice, okay, notice I am creating a list, new list. So this is my comprehension. So the error disappeared now. Okay, so I was able to initialize, but the problem is, well, I cannot return the comprehension. Okay, just like a call, I do this over here. Okay, but notice whenever we create this comprehension, we have this expression, and we know that any programming language expressions evaluated to a value. So this will evaluated to a value, and then in this function, if you take a good look, well, the expression is basically simply we are appending the items to this set. Okay, so we know that list append method doesn't return anything. It's a what do we call it? It doesn't return anything, so it's non-fruitful function. Okay, so um, so the value right here, the evaluated value would be none. But who cares? We are not going to use this list. We are going to return this list, and as an expression, every time when we add value to this list comprehension, we run this code, thereby appending into this list. So we return that. Okay. So let's run this code, and then we'll see that it runs fine. Okay. So run it. Okay. So we got the same result. All right. So there you have it, guys. So sometimes, so this is not an ideal solution. Okay. But some interviewers kind of like, to test how creative or how to check the depth of knowledge, ask this kind of question. Okay, so once you solve this, it's really straightforward. Okay, and then they may ask, okay, can you try to do this in a single line without even telling you how you're using comprehensions? Okay, well, it's not a single line, but anyway, we use comprehension, right? All right, so there you have it. Um, Complete understand umpire process on solving this problem, remove duplicates.